Good day, everyone. This is Brian again. What we're going to be looking at now, or today, is this is how I kind of teach complete new traders basic lessons in support and resistance, trend lines, and how to identify candlestick patterns. I'm not a huge fan of candlestick patterns, but I do use them occasionally. I mean, it's good to understand what they are. So if you look at the screen, what we're seeing is this is three different indicators, and they will all be included below in the whatever on the forums link. I'll have a link to download all three of them. One of them identifies support and resistance. The other one draws trend lines. And the third one marks the chart with the candlestick patterns with an explanation of them up here in the top left-hand corner. Um, the the two of them are pretty easy because they're self-explanatory and they label themselves. So if, let's say, for instance, we zoom in here for a second. Right here we have resistance that has been proven. Now if you'll notice, if you do know anything about support and resistance, it didn't draw anything right here, which was actually a very good support and resistance. So this isn't something I actually trade live with. It is something that is great for new people to learn with. But let me get rid of that line. I just wanted to point that out because I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh, God, there's a really good resist line right there. Okay, so what we're looking at here is it basically shows like we have verified support and it's been tested 2 times. If we look back, there's our 2 times. Untested support below here. I'll zoom out in a little bit so you can see where these are coming from. We have a purple box here forming and showing weak resistance, and down here we have this one showing weak support. So it's pretty self-explanatory. Support and resist are really, I mean, if you trade reversals, and this is kind of what I'm leading up to. I was going to show a simple reversal system this week, but I realized I really hadn't shown everything you would need to start using it yet. So support and resist is one of your #1 reasons when you're trading reversals, in my opinion. You can use support and resist. If we look, I mean, here it goes, it reversed. Here's our weak resistance. It came back up, hit the weak resistance, and we're currently getting a reversal off it. Does it work all the time? No. Does it work most of the time? Yes. Okay, so let's take a look out a little bit more so that you can kind of understand how the indicator works. I'm going to zoom out quite a bit here. But if you look, it goes back and does the whole thing. So we have untested resistance. Basically, price went up there, dropped, and it's never gone back, so it's an untested. Turncoat resistance, it means price got pushed through on it when price turned. Same thing here, got pushed through. But then we get in, these are your normal ones. Verified support, here's your weak resistance, weak support, like I said. So what I recommend normally is I use, and there is a link on the forums for the MT4 simulator. You can run through if you're trying to learn support and resistance, trying to learn trend lines, or trying to learn candlestick patterns. You can use this as a great way to help you start learning and how to identify good support and resist areas so that you'll be able to draw them yourself. I've seen a few people actually trade with us on their screen, but again, I use it as a learning tool. It's a kind of an old indicator, but I mean, it helped me a lot when I was first trying to learn support and resistance. We're going to go ahead and take that off there so that we can, and those are the 3 indicators. I'm going to be packaging them up for you. So let's go ahead and remove support and resistance off there. We're going to talk about trend lines next. Okay, so these are the trend lines. Again, here's how I show people to use this indicator so you can learn to draw them or learn to identify them. Because it's really not about, this isn't really about using the indicators, it's learning how to draw a trend line for yourself. Because as you see, I mean, if you look at this chart, there's multiple different ways you could draw this trend line. But how do we change it? So in an educational purpose, how do we use this indicator to learn how to draw trend lines? Well, it's pretty easy. Just go to your indicators list, bring up trend lines day. See where it's end period 15? Let's see if we drop it to 10, what happens to those trend lines. Now we get a different trend line. The idea is here is I go through 15 up to about 50 in steps of 10, and it'll show you different ways you could identify a trend or draw a trend line. So we're at 10 and we saw 15. Let's go into the indicators list again, do trend lines daily. Let's bump it up to 20, see if it changes. Okay, so now we see that there was a possible trend lines could be drawn here. I hope you're getting the idea. Again, like I said, it's not so much as for trading live. This is really just to help you identify, well, how can I draw trend lines? And so you can play with charts, play with the settings, and see how different trend lines would look, what the possible trend lines are. In my opinion, I've had really good success with teaching people this way because it's pretty simple. You bring up the chart and you just play around. So let's give it a try again. Let's go to trend lines. We're 20. If we bump to 30, see if we get a change. And see, now we're getting different trend lines. It will really help you so that you can learn how to identify trend lines and draw them. One more. Indicator list, trend lines, and let's do 40. Now, is what you can see as you increase the number, it looks farther and farther back in the time frame history so that you can get an idea of how those trend lines work. Now, with me, with trend lines, I will typically draw one, depending on how the chart's forming, I have 1 to 3 trend lines on there. But once I draw one, I kind of can remember it in my head since I've been doing this for a while now. So I'll stick with 2 on the chart, the high and the low one, and then sometimes in a light dotted line, I'll draw the second set. So, for instance, indicator list, like, see that 31 I like, and the 31 down here I like. So I would leave that one on there, and indicator list, if we go to, I think, 15. And I like that one also because it's catching the downward trend in there. So if I was drawing the trend line, I could always just go that way and that way. Now, it gets confusing having on all those, so I'll edit them. Double click so you get dots, right click, trendline properties, go into common, make that thing tiny, make it dashed, and I usually can do like a gray or something. I want it there, but I don't want it to stand out too much. The darker the color, the less it'll stand out. But it gives me an idea, hey, there's a trend line there I need to keep an eye on. So hopefully that'll help you out with trend lines. So far we've covered support and resist and trend lines. Let us get rid of the trend lines. And let me get rid of the ones I drew. All right, everything's gone. So the next thing, we got all these funky little letters and a little chart up here. Let me zoom in for a sec. And okay, so this is candlestick patterns and how to identify them. If it's on the bottom, it's going to be, well, SS4. Let's just look at the codes. See, it says SS4. So if we go over here, we have SS234. It's shooting star. Now we have S_E, bearish engulfing pattern. Down here, we have P_L, piercing lines pattern. Okay, so great. It's telling me what's forming. This is not going to catch every single pattern out there, but it is a great way to learn patterns if you've never done it before. Now, what the hell are you going to do with this? Because obviously, if you have this indicator up here, you don't know what the patterns are. A great site to go to is fxwords.com, and I will link this. And it has Japanese candlestick charting explained. So, for instance, let's go to view all bearish reversals. That didn't work very well. Let me get back here. Bullish reversals. I'm sorry. Let's go with this and then I'll show you the rest. But anyway, it's going to explain view all bearish reversal patterns, view all continuation patterns, candlestick trading. Read through this page. It'll give you a brief introductory to it. And it goes through each one. Let me double check and make sure. So if you click continuation, it's going to show following 3 methods. It's going to throw a bunch at you in here, but you can compare it to your notes, not your notes, what it's giving you here. So like if we're looking at, I don't know, let me find it, bullish reversal pattern. Okay, so we have bullish reversal patterns. Let's see if we can find, it says morning doji star. and there's Morning Doji Star right here. And if you click on it, it gives you a little bit of instructions and a description of what it is. So what you'll get is you'll be able to see it on the chart, go to this website, look up the one on the left, what you saw on the chart, and here you go is a text explanation of the actual candlestick pattern and what it means, how to identify it, and things like that. So it's a really easy way to learn. Combining this with an MT4 simulator, like on a Saturday, you can sit down and over a weekend run through several charts, taking a look at them, and start learning how to do support and resistance line, start learning how to do trend lines, and start picking up on these patterns, if that's the way you're going to be wanting to trade. Support and resist and trend lines are some of the most useful tools you would need. I don't care if you trade price action, confluence, technical trading. I'm a technical trader slash confluence trader, and I use support and resist and trend lines like there is no tomorrow. They are some of your strongest reasons for reversals. They're also, if you're going, I mean, I'm not a big trend trader, but they're also, if you're about to take a trend trade and you see a nice support resist right below it, you're going to want to stay out till it pierces through it, then look and see if it continues on. That comes into conjunction with EMAs and things like that. Uh, Hopefully next week we'll be doing a simple reversal system for you. Just from looking at this, you could probably figure out how to do one. If you have any questions, as usual, make sure to hit me up. I will include the indicators in a little pack below this so you can try this out and take a look at it. And hopefully it'll help you learn how to draw your trend lines, your support and resist, and identify those areas. And of course, if you're into learning candlestick patterns, which you should have a basic understanding of it, it'll help you learn that too. It'll be some good first steps towards trading if you're new to it, or if you're not, it's just a good practice. I mean, take a look at it, see if there's something you missed. Thanks for watching the video, and have a great day.